Now, there's not much to say about this next movie except for... we saw Mortal Kombat, so you know what that means.
Now it's time for How Did This Get Made? We're gonna have a good time, celebrate some failure, not just be a hater, but you know you wonder, how did this get made? Let's wallow in the mediocrity of subpar art. Perhaps we'll find the answer to the question, how did this get made?
Hello, people of Earth, and welcome to How Did This Get Made? I am Paul Scheer, joined as always by Jason Mantzoukas. How are you, Jason?
Oh, woof. Oh, boy, fine, I guess. Just watch this movie.
And June Diane Raphael. How are you, June?
I'm good. How are you, Paul?
Very good. We have a very special guest today. Please welcome Cameron Esposito. How are you, Cameron?
Oh, I'm feeling great. I mean, this movie's like in my wheelhouse, so
Thanks
for choosing this one for me.
June, do you want to reveal to the audience what you just said as we were putting the mics on? And I said, I feel like, let's try and recreate it. I said,
well, maybe we could do this. We could actually just play, because we did roll it. Let's just roll what just
drop
happened.
it in. I didn't play this game.
I never played it either.
anything
Fuck,
about it.
but I did do the research to try and
Good,
figure
you know
out.
what?
To
Well
just be
done.
like, you know what? Is this a thing in the, so it's pretty cross-referenced.
Didn't know there was a game. Okay, so there it was.
Okay, so there it was, and what we just realized is that June went through this whole movie not realizing it was based on a video game.
Well, to be fair, I did write down at one point, this sounds like a video game.
Sounds like.
It sounds like
like
the
it.
noises, the
Oh,
soundscape
some of it actually
Oh.
is. When Reptile comes in, that's actually from the game.
Okay, because
So,
it does
Gal,
sound
you
like...
nailed it.
It does sound like the score of a video game, like even what you just played.
No, but the thing
It
is, that
it did
song...
sound familiar, Mortal Kombat. Those words together
Yeah,
sounded
they
familiar.
sounded like something.
But you just remember them from fighting to the death, right?
I
Just
don't know.
from my own
The
personal
general
experience.
experience of fighting to the death.
I did know that's a familiar phrase or saying. I just didn't know.
I'm laughing because...
I didn't know where it was from.
Wait, you didn't know, but so in your mind, Mortal Kombat, you just thought, well, this is a very large cast of characters, and it seems to be nothing but mano-a-mano fight sequences.
I have a lot. I sat down and said, guys, I don't even know what to say about this movie.
You stormed out of our living room 3 times going, this movie irritates me, and you walked out.
I had a very bad reaction to it. I didn't know what it was.
We get it. You guys have a living room.
Now, I will say, we wanted to tell you, it's like, I know a lot of people out there will be upset, like, oh, come on, well, you don't know the game, and I played this game, not so much that I would know all these details, but enough that I understand it. But screw you guys who are going to be upset about this. It's a movie. It's a movie. We're judging it from that.
And here's the thing: if you have particular fondness for this movie because it pushes a button of love for you of playing this game, I need you to understand that this movie is very bad. This movie is
And
like.
if you love this game, you should actually kind of hate this movie because
Yes.
see, now I never played this game either, but
you
I
did know it was a
did
game.
live in the world at the time.
And that's fair.
I mean, this is at like every roller skating rink growing up.
I was gonna say,
feel
it's like a
I'm
big
telling you,
arcade game.
They were
Yeah.
words that sounded
It
familiar.
was like Duck Hunt,
And-
then like that Rampage game where you turn into a bigger ape. You know, if something
Oh,
happens,
that was a
you
good
guys
one. I
remember
like that.
Yeah.
But this is,
Tron.
Here's what I'm
Yeah.
realizing.
I mean, to bring this back to June, one of her most famous quotes, you don't really even understand Street Fighter, and you didn't understand that
I
was a
didn't know
game.
that was a game. Now, my relationship to video games growing up
Ooh,
was
what do you
this.
know? What do you know about video
Yeah.
games?
My next door neighbor had Nintendo, and the games I played were the game where you had to cross the street in a little... The frog crossed the street.
Where
What game was that?
Frogger? That's not a Nintendo
Why did
game.
you let her off the hook way too fast?
That's the game.
Was it an Atari?
It was an Atari. It was not a Nintendo. Okay, so
Wait, I want to go back to what you described. A frog that was in a cart?
No, did you think? No, I want to go back. Yeah. Did you think when you were playing that the frog was also in a car, just going perpendicular to traffic?
I knew there were frogs and carts. I couldn't remember exactly how they
Okay, so you
related.
played Frogger. And what was
That
the
was
other
one of the
game?
best games on Nintendo. Also, that Sonic the
Atari.
Hedgehog game was pretty
I
good.
didn't
on
play
Nintendo,
that.
too. No,
I didn't play that. I've heard of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, you have.
I played Frogger. I've played Oregon Trail. I've played,
That's a
which I
good
know.
one.
That's not a Nintendo game.
Okay, no, that's on the computer.
I played
Those are-
Solitaire.
Those are the 2 games that I have played, and Mario Brothers. I've played those games.
Okay.
When I went to an arcade or, some sort of event with roller skates, whatever, I would see the video games. I wouldn't even go near them.
Really?
Why?
I wasn't interested.
This
in
is
them.
why you get so angry when you see like things like Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto, because you've gone from Oregon Trail to Grand Theft Auto
No interest
5.
in that. That's a part of life. Like I never had any interest
I
in.
spent days, weeks worth of my life, like getting quarters and playing
my
video
God, the
games
best.
in an
No.
arcade.
So
when I
I
grew up, you could go to Paladin, an arcade in my area, with your report card, and they would give you $1 worth of tokens for every A you got.
Oh,
Wow, that's
Yeah.
well, that's kind of great.
Yeah.
I mean, I played pinball machines.
Yeah.
wait, you want like what do you want? You want a
Just
cookie
trying
for
to think of
that?
other things that are
Like when you were at the pizza place
pinball
waiting?
machines.
Yeah.
Yes, skee
ball's
ball.
great.
Okay, so you're
But
into like
that's
old
it.
timey fare.
Yes.
Like
I've
you
never
played one of those
another
those video
game.
games where you put the coin in and you spin the dial and you see a moving picture. Like that's a video game that you like. One of those,
Nickelodeon.
yeah, like a
Or
Nickelodeon.
like you put a quarter in and just like a monkey dances in the
I'm
thing.
72 years old. So
I don't
yes,
get the
these
with your
words
newfangled games.
These words sounded familiar to me, Mortal Kombat, but
Mortal
I didn't know what. I didn't know where it
Well,
came,
the
what
reason
the source
I said
material was.
that about the video game fans being mad is because the whole thing with that game was that it was super violent. It was like the first
Right.
mega
Early
violent
violent,
game,
okay.
and they had the spine rip. There's a spine rip move in there, and
Yeah,
I
you
think
could rip out a
actually-
head and the spine would be dangling.
I think actually that game is the reason that games have ratings. I think that's.
I think you are right. And this movie was originally to be an R-rated movie, so they could embrace the one thing that is defining about it,
Really?
which is the
That you kill,
supreme
everybody-
violence
yeah.
of the game.
So the basic premise of the movie, where mortals are fighting creatures who have magical powers.
I would say that this is
That's
a
the
part
basic
of.
premise of the
I would
game,
say that
too.
this is part of the movie that I'm a little bit unsure of. As a game player, I felt like there was a tournament, but it seemed like there were certain people who were not. The tournament didn't seem like the rankings. Like, I couldn't follow
Yeah.
a ranking system. I was like, oh, now they're out, but
It
did
just
they
seemed
win?
like good
Did they
guys
move on?
versus bad guys?
But yet
and
they were all there.
Couldn't tell who. Like, why were the people who were brought arbitrarily good guys or bad guys?
Right,
And
and
I'm
I-
assuming then that some of the good guys killed other good guys. I think in the beginning rounds.
Well, like to me, it's like I feel like this movie was missing that chart that they had in the Karate Kid, where they kind of just moved up the name LaRusso, so you got to see
Yeah.
what was happening. Here, there was no ranking.
Or like a
system.
round robin, or like a
Exactly.
bracket, sort of a
Because
tournament thing.
at one point, the Sang Sum, the bad guy, he was like, well,
the guy from Iron Chef.
yeah.
Did anybody else think that he was just like the host of Iron Chef? Like that guy, they both overact so much in the most hilarious way. Every time he would get up and make those big declarations is like at the beginning of Iron Chef where the guy tells everybody what the secret ingredient is. Not America,
Yeah.
not America, because that's the guy's nephew. But the original Iron Chef where the guy was like had such dramatic flair. This guy was that guy.
Hey, well, this guy was amazing because also when he said something in the movie, like he would do this, he'd be like, well, now if you win this match,
Yeah.
I can either challenge you or I can challenge someone else. Like, well, that's not a good, effective tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what? That doesn't mean anything.
Everybody
And
just gets to make shit up.
I think
Yeah.
the mortal part also really comes into play because there's a couple times when the person does not die, and then the Sung just comes in
And sucks their
and
soul
is like,
out.
well, I'll go ahead and clear this up.
Basically,
won
like, he
this.
always is
right.
winning, because Sang Sum is, like, he basically is, if I'm mispronouncing it, I'm sorry, but, like, so he gets all the souls regardless, no matter who wins in these fights.
Is he collecting
also,
souls? What I couldn't understand was he collecting souls in order to make himself unbeatable, so that if it got down to it and he needed to fight to win the 10th victory,
clearly
which does
happened,
happen,
yeah.
he has at his disposal all of this sorcery. He can recall the souls that he's stolen to fight on his behalf.
I want to
all this stuff.
No,
I know we
here's
don't
my
normally
question.
jump ahead, but at the end when he does have to call up all the souls, I do love that they all kind of pop out of the ground like through little circles, like a Britney Spears concert or something. They all are shooting up from
Yep.
from beneath the stage, and I was like, I wish I was on set for that day when these big muscle-bound men were forced to
Yeah.
be shot through holes. Like, it did not go
That
well.
was the best part of last year's Super Bowl is when Beyonce
Yes.
was joined, and it was exactly like that
And
moment
they have
for
that-
me. We're like, I can't believe Destiny's Child is here, back from the dead.
And there's a little bit of a stutter step because you are being rocketed into the air, and worse, they are being shot through like fake brick.
Yes.
But here's what I don't understand. So when he would take, I don't know any of these characters' names.
Okay,
I
well-
couldn't
It was harder too because they didn't say them ever. Just kidding. Everybody called everybody by their first and last name in every occurrence.
I
in
When
the
couldn't
Lord Raiden
commit
came
them to
on, they
memory.
said Lord Raiden about if you did a drinking game, every time they said the name
commit
Raiden.
any of them to memory. But so when that guy was taking souls,
Yes.
were those people then dead to never be heard from again?
Yes.
Or did they then become his, because what I thought was happening, I'm sure this is all in the video game again.
Well,
but
no, we
what
gotta
I
treat this like
thought
a
was
movie. We're
happening
treating it like a movie.
Was that those people were becoming his, like, sort of slave army that was there.
But that was unclear
I
too
don't think
because
so.
It's
pretty confusing.
because Sub-Zero and Scorpion
'Cause they
were
seemed
under
pretty
his
soulless.
spell.
Yeah.
You mean the guys that rip their faces off to reveal skeleton heads?
Yes.
Full of bugs and worms?
Yes. Another.
Oh, those guys.
Yeah, the guy. They also.
Oh, cool. Got it.
Yeah, those guys who were from Halloween 3 who also had
Yes.
faces of bugs and worms.
That's
by
like
the-
a real potent image, I guess. Is like a head that opens and erupts into bugs
Gotta
and
say, it's
worms.
pretty
I always
upsetting.
think about like who is the bug handler that's like gotta
yeah.
get on set
I
like
could-
5
They
o'clock
can-
that
Gotta
morning
go,
and
we're
just
ready.
like be like, hey, the roach is on top of the worm, but for continuity we need worm on roach. So
But-
if you could just get in here.
And then you need somebody in the skull though, going like, they need some sort
Push
of
more through.
We gotta get him
Push
out.
more
We gotta.
through.
Like, he's like
Yeah,
just
it's like
shoving.
that. It's like that Play-Doh spaghetti thing, you know, where you like
Exactly what it
shoot
looked
the
like.
Play-Doh out. You know.
I do think, and I'm willing to say this now, that we should have an episode where we interview a Hollywood bug man.
If you are a
Honestly,
Hollywood bug man,
I've met
please.
a few animal wranglers. I can't believe I'm going to go on record and say this, but they're strange.
Well,
strange
there.
Oh, sure.
No.
I'm sorry,
strange
you
sex.
can't believe you're going to go on record as saying
I'm sure
Hollywood
some of them are
animal
lovely
wranglers are strange
but
people.
They are. It's a
I'm gonna
certain
say-
personality that.
I'm going to say
strong toward
90%
that
of the
field.
time, they are not animal trainers. They are animal owners
Yes.
that just happen to like want their like. We had a
But-
snake trainer in the league, and like, oh, you can't train a snake. Their training a snake
own
was
one.
hitting it with a stick, and the snake was like vomiting and shitting all over the floor. Like it was.
I was on a Marin episode where they had a cat wrangler, and allow me to throw something
Please.
out there. She had a belt on, and on part of the utility belt was just a little, like a tiny Pringles can sort of a thing, and it was rewrapped in brown paper, and it said on it like liver snaps. And so she not only put it onto a belt, but she also labeled it.
She's
yeah.
like a Batman. She's a Batman wrangler.
She's a cat man, cat
Cat
woman.
the liver snap area. It was labeled. That's how I knew it was.
Well,
in
she
there.
didn't want to be reaching for liver snaps when she was reaching for something else.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta get in
It'd
the.
be confusing.
That's, yeah, no, but to be fair, if you handle bugs for a living and you're a fan of the show and want to come on and tell us what's up with that, please
Come on, we
Please.
will talk. We will talk.
We
to you.
want to know.
I will also talk about this movie. Came out in 1995, and it was at the beginning of CGI, which is amazing because it's before people have like learned how to react to it appropriately. Because CGI in this movie, like the way they're reacting is not mimicking what is actually happening. It's sort of
Right.
like if something is like flying by their face, like whoa, oh, like their
Yeah, there's a
reactions are
disconnect.
so big.
Yes, and it's so cool to see. Well, I love like effects stuff,
Sure.
and what I love about this is Goro's character.
Oh, yeah.
is
Wait,
clearly
who's Goro?
The
he's
two
a guy
forearms?
who has many
Forearms,
arms.
yeah.
Yeah,
Forearms.
old forearms.
Yeah.
I
That's
call
what I
him
called him in my
I
notes.
call him old forearms, and they clearly use because it's just the beginning of CGI. They clearly use a bunch of different methods to make him. Like
Yeah.
there's some shots where it's just like an arm in front of the camera, being
Yeah.
like, "Hey, can you just get that arm over here?" And then like there's other shots where it's clearly a guy standing on like
Oh, yeah.
another guy's
Yeah.
shoulders, and there's just so many There's like I think there's maybe even claymation. in
There's
this.
definitely, Ray
claymation.
Harryhausen was
And there's
definitely
puppets.
involved.
Oh,
So
the
there's-
miniatures in this
There's
are
a
amazing.
ton of different, and I love that from this time period. It's like it's Terminator 2 did it the best, but this is like
It feels
this
more
time period
cla-
where they're trying to smash a couple things together.
It's like right where Clash of the Titans meets Terminator 2. It's sort of like they just don't know which
Yeah.
side to go on. But I want to talk about Goro, the forearm guy. You're led to believe that this is a character. I know we're going out of order,
Is
but
he in the video
Is
game?
there an order? It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, is there
it's
an
a
order?
series
Yeah.
of fights. If I
Yeah,
hear that
there's no
song one
narrative,
more
you guys.
time, I will put a bullet in my head. That was this
The best
plays
song of
for
all time.
80% of the movie.
I wanted
is
it to
just
play for a
this.
90%.
This and like psh, 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 ah, psh, 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 ah, oh, psh, ah, psh. Get over here!
Fatality.
And it's just, it was insanity. At a certain point, I was like, you can't just play this song and have fights and call it a movie.
I want more. I like when that, like, it almost, I got excited in my house because I was like, yeah, like, because at least gave me some energy.
I can't believe I don't listen to that song when I'm at the gym.
I want
Now
it every
I will.
I want
Every
it all
time. Are you
the
kidding?
time. It's the best song of all time.
You are wrong. You guys are very, very wrong.
I think that they wrote that song ahead of time. The whoever put that, it's like somebody actually cool.
Yeah, that's
Lords of Acid or something.
Yeah, it is.
That song is not in the video game.
The
That
films,
is like their song, and
Yes.
then they put in the Mortal Kombat scream, like how when Bruce Springsteen
Mortal
did
Kombat.
that
Yeah.
song that's in whatever the fuck that movie is with what the fuck is that movie where Tom Cruise leaves and then Renee
Castaway.
Zellweger goes with it doesn't matter, but they put the sound effect
Joe
in.
versus the volcano.
And like ruined that's their
The Bosom
song,
Buddies.
and now forever for the rest of their lives. I couldn't stop thinking about like if you made that song and then now the only thing people remember is like they're gonna scream that in your fucking face
Oh my God.
for the rest of your life.
well, here's one thing I will tell you that album went platinum. The Mortal Kombat
What?
soundtrack went platinum in less than 2 weeks.
for sure it did.
Why?
Sure.
Because
I'm
everyone
willing to
loved it.
say-
I'm buying it now.
I'm willing to say that song was terrible.
No, it was great.
It was exhausting, is what it was.
All right,
Well,
so
but-
I want to talk. Oh, go ahead.
No,
About
I was going to ask, as a fan of the video games, did you guys like the video game?
I love the
didn't
video
pl-
game.
I didn't
You
play
never
it.
played.
I loved the video game because it was
satisfying to.
No, not at all. No,
It
this
was
is
one
not
of those
satisfying
games
as
where
a
like
narrative.
two people squared off. It's like a button smasher.
Yeah.
And you just do different combinations and it's like psh, psh,
And with
woo,
the
I'm
characters,
jumping.
like the
Pow, pow, pow.
actor.
Well, the cool thing about the video game, from my memory of it, was it was video. So like the characters were not like animated. They were like they brought in like
Yeah.
actors, and so they were real people, and that was like a cool thing. So the world looked very much like a video game, but the
Yeah.
characters looked like real people.
What's the difference between this and Final Fantasy? Wasn't that the
Final
same
Fantasy
thing?
is a whole different thing. Like Tekken.
What
is
was
more
the
akin to
other
this.
two-person
Street Fighter.
Oh, Street Fighter.
So
yeah,
Street
so
Fighter,
that's
Mortal
it. Okay.
Kombat were like
so
this, but
these
Street
were
Fighter
the
was
competing
part-
enemy
Yes.
games. Okay, got it.
Now, but
Everybody is flipping out right now.
Oh, they're
Everybody's
mad.
like, "How the fuck do you not know what this is?"
some fucking research.
Okay.
Do some research.
Well, guys, talk to me when they make a game out of Pitfall, a movie,
or
rather.
a movie about a frog in a car.
I
for
would
June.
watch that.
or a Q*bert movie.
But I will say this: so Goro is built as this four-armed monster. He's kind of human. I don't know what his whole deal is. He seems to be like a bad guy.
Sorry, he's not in the video game. Not that this
He is.
his
He
character.
is.
He is. Okay, all right.
But
I think everybody might be in the video.
everyone
game.
is. Yes.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, the black guy is not.
Jax.
He's
he's
no, because there's like a different. The black guy that's in this movie
Yeah.
is like a composite black guy where they were like, "We're a black guy," and then they just made him
Killed
up.
off right
Really?
away. Yeah,
Wait.
the first one to die.
The black guy with the braids or the black
No,
guy?
No,
not
the
that
guy who
with
got
the
killed.
braid.
Who's
So, like,
Sonya's,
the
like,
sad,
friend?
relatable black guy.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like, "Oh, well, get over here, buddy,"
Yeah.
and that guy gets right out the window.
Well, yeah, that guy was. I think maybe Jax was, because now I'm looking right here. He is a character. His name is Jax Briggs, and he may have been more. Oh wait, Jax. No, he's the Jax Briggs is not the black guy. He's the guy with the half metal face.
Oh,
yes,
the
you're
cyborg
right.
guy?
Yes, the
Can I
cyborg
ask
guy.
a quick question?
Oh, yeah.
What was Sonya and the black guys? Was her name Sonya or Sasha? Sonya.
Sonya.
What was their occupation in the real world?
Oh, they were like police officers?
Special forces
Sonya is like a policeman. She's got the
But-
shotgun in the beginning,
Yeah.
right?
is confusing why their job description involves, because it feels like maybe they work for the government, but
Thought
like
so.
Wait,
but
yeah.
like deep ops where you just
Deep-
run into space where you're just
But-
like, my job is to run at this ship.
I have the thing.
I don't have any connection to anybody else.
Wait,
like,
I
she
have a
has
real
radios
question.
anybody.
I have a real
Forget
question.
the
Who is her
clearance.
boss?
Oh wait, but her boss, the guy that she's with, the guy she's with who doesn't get on the boat, when she runs towards the boat, he literally says it in this tone of voice, like, hey, Sonya, don't get on that boat. Like
So like, oh well, there she goes.
Maybe he's the guy that has to go back to their boss, just like, I don't know, she ran into some mist.
she got into a fog boat.
But why did the other guy, sorry, don't know any of their names, why did the other guy want to fight her so badly?
Who, Metalface?
Not Metalface.
Oh,
I don't know.
By the way, this you want to know, this is from the Mortal Kombat wiki. Sonya Blade is a female soldier who's a member of the Earth Realms Special Forces Unit known as the Outer World Investigation Agency, the OIA. And so she's sort of like she's like a DEA agent of the outer world.
Like a Men in Black.
Yes.
Sort of a predictive of that.
Yes.
What?
Okay, that's really...
So, but when the other guy, the Asian guy says,
Liu
I
Kang?
don't want, I guess, says...
The Chosen One?
I don't know. Says, I don't want you to harm her, I just want you to humiliate her.
Oh, you mean
What was that about?
the head bad guy, the bad guy.
The main bad
Saying
guy.
some.
like some like a rape setup
Well, it
going
was
on there.
really
Pretty
disturbing.
over the top.
She's all tarted up at the end, so I thought
Yeah,
maybe
they
he
took
was...
her-
Humiliation?
They took her out of her short shorts, which she was fighting in her,
Yeah.
Right.
her short shorts, and then they kind of dressed her in like a princess outfit
Yeah.
for no real
Couldn't
apparent
figure
reason.
that out. But I was like, was he like softening her up so he could like blast her? Like, what's the deal?
Didn't it feel
Something was
it
very
felt
wrong
very
about
sexy,
that.
in a
Yeah.
weird
Well, and then
way.
the friends come and save her, and the guy who's been like flirting with her the whole time goes, "Nice chest." Nice chest?
No, he says nice dress.
Dress.
Oh, I thought he said nice
No,
chest.
nice dress.
And I thought to myself, who on earth says chest? Who would be like, instead of saying like nice tits or whatever, who would be like, hey, nice chest?
I will say that this is my issue with that character. Everyone that was there was a fighter of some kind, right? And they were all really, but everyone was protecting her like, oh, let's not beat her up. The girl,
Yeah.
let's not touch the girl. But she was a fucking very good fighter.
Well, they brought her there because she was
I
a good
was happy
fighter.
she at least
Really
got
upsetting.
some punches in the face. Like, that's
Yes.
nice to see when there's a chicken. I do think, though, like,
Yeah, but
she
she
is like
did-
the
but she-
Angelina Jolie variety of
Yeah, but that's
female
what I had a
fighter.
problem with,
Real
because
thin.
she was really, all of a sudden, she was like this woman in distress. who
Whereas
they
she
all
had
to
been
run
such a
after.
badass the
It
whole
was-
time. I agree.
And she was screaming and flailing about.
Yeah.
Like, it was very strange.
And then, by the way, if you want to know who was up for this role originally, Sharon Stone.
Oh, and who was the woman that played it?
This is actually Pete Sampras' wife.
Oh,
Her
yeah.
name is Bridget Wilson Sampras.
Yeah.
And Dina Meyer, also from Battlefield, or was it Starship Troopers? Those are the two that turned it down.
Do you guys recognize her from Billy Madison?
Yes,
She's
that's
like
who I
a
remember.
hot
And he
chicken
loved
Billy
her.
Madison.
Yeah.
That was a formative person.
Oh yeah,
You know?
100%.
Like the hot chicken. Veronica Moss.
Yeah, she was like, but by the way, she seems so humorless to me as a character. Like at one point they make a joke like about I wrote it down she's always taking that Johnny Cage's jokes as
Yeah.
being like
Serious.
Yeah,
She doesn't
serious.
get humor.
yeah, like
Like apparently her partner was killed by Kano, right?
Yeah.
Her partner's killed by Kano, and from that point forward, she only has like a bloodlust for revenge and
Yes.
cannot entertain jokes, cannot crack a smile. All she wants, she will shoot up a nightclub. She will do whatever it takes to kill Kano, and then she snaps his neck with her legs. And I was like, this is some cold ass shit right here.
I feel like it's maybe like an anti-feminist, like, women that fight are not fun. Like, they're not
Yeah.
nice
Look.
to you. They're not nice.
I agree.
And I felt like they shot that fight scene I mean, I did appreciate that she got punched in the face a few times.
Me
but
too.
Like,
Thank
Yeah.
God.
But
What?
they really did shoot it in like these weird close-ups that like you never really saw her.
No, and I
was
slowed it
not a
down.
fight
By
I
the
slowed
way-
it down because I
Okay,
wanted to
Jason.
see him
Okay,
connect.
Jason.
she did all of her own fights, all of her own stuff.
And that showed though.
But how could you have slowed it down? Because the fight sequences in this film
We're already so
are
slow.
also the
I disagree.
slowest,
I
the
disagree.
most telegraphed punches.
It was that was so crazy to me because they would always slow it down. I was like, but you're not doing anything. Like when she flips over that guy, I was like, why are you slowing down this flip? It's not like she's moving so quickly.
Many people were able to duck. That was a big move
Oh
to
yeah.
get away. Also,
And every punch is very easily blocked because it is set up and then very slowly executed.
and like the special kind of magical moves, they give
Yeah.
them like plenty of time
Oh,
to
yeah.
set up. Where it's like, I'm calling to the gods, ice thing is forming in my hands. Like, stay
Let's
over
go.
there and look at it with your eyes.
Can I ask this? Why weren't any of the mortals Like, why wasn't
Johnny
Cage or Liu Kang or Sonya or any of these people surprised when there was a four-armed man, when
That
people could
was not-
summon,
Well, that was
when
a
people
little-
could summon electricity.
I mean, as
But
far as
they
we
didn't
know-
flinch at all.
As far as we know,
that's
they were not. This is not a world that they were accustomed to. Like
Yes.
Johnny Cage was not like, oh, I know that there's an other world. And by the way, it wasn't also made clear if the boat was in the air
Do you
because there
think
was
they were
so much
on-
fog, or if they were on the water.
Do you know when he looks and the compass is going crazy or whatever? Do you think they were on the Lost
Yeah,
Island?
I thought they were on the Lost Island. John Locke was one of the fighters.
How fucking awesome would it have been on Lost if they just walked by and like there was a Mortal Kombat happening in the background?
The others were just like all those other.
If like the Man in Black and Titus Welliver or Titus Welliver and the other guy there, when you flash back to them, they are just mortal combatants.
It was never a polar bear. It was Sub-Zero the entire time.
Yep.
Well, it did seem like even if they didn't know this world existed, they were very used to the idea of like magic and
Why?
powers and like
Why?
that wasn't new information for anyone.
But I think it was new information.
Can I
think
just?
it was supposed to be too,
Well,
but it should have been.
They were so
such a
jaded.
huge-
No, you could tell that they were surprised because of their sassy jokes. You know, like
Yeah.
whenever Johnny Cage was
true.
like that's just how he interprets the world. He's just like, oh, this again? I gotta carry my bags
we
to
Johnny-
the other world.
Johnny
That's
Cage
his way of going through the
is
world.
my favorite character, and his love relationship with Sonya was not ever set up, right? I mean, like they had like a
I
couple.
think what they wanted was that like Sam and Diane type of,
But then all of a sudden he's like, I'll never let you get out of my sight. And I was like, wait, what?
Yep.
What just did we miss? Like a fight?
I want to talk about his,
You belong to me now,
him
woman.
throwing his autographed picture at the end of that fight. Now he
How
had
about
those
wearing the
on him.
sunglasses to the other fight?
Those were 5.
How about see? This was during a time, though. I feel like in like the early '90s, there was this real sort of like a lot of actors in movies were portrayed as just the worst
Yeah.
douchebags in the world. Like that was during that time where it was like if you were a movie star in a movie playing a movie star.
Yeah, you were
getting handled
a
pretty.
horrible person.
Yeah.
We also need to go back to the fact that the whole reason he's there is because he like definitely reads tabloid articles about himself.
And the tabloid
when
articles-
they're in like Chinese.
Yes, the tabloid article. What he is, his character's arc is that the tabloids are saying that he is a fake karate fighter.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't stand it. I'm a good karate fighter.
And that's why he goes.
Can I actually play this clip from the movie when his master comes to tell him to fight in this tournament? You'll get a sense of the movie here. Let's take a listen.
I see the press is still giving you a hard time.
Yeah, they think I'm a fake.
Johnny, you're one of the best martial artists in the world, and I can help you prove it.
Prove it. How?
A tournament. The tournament. It's held once a generation. The best fighters in the world are invited. You win the tournament, you win their respect. They'll tell the entire world that you're the real goods.
That is the premise. Like that's pretty
I
much.
wish, though, at the end of the movie we had seen, printing presses putting out some new articles.
And
it really didn't
also
seem like the
nice-
word was going to get out.
Maybe in the sequel. Maybe
Well,
in the
because
sequel.
the sequel does pick up right after this movie. I want to just, before we get away from Johnny Cage, because there's something very important. Did you guys notice anything about that director that was directing the movie? Anything?
Oh, yes.
Who did it look like?
Oh, the director?
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg.
Right. Now, did you be very surprised to know that apparently Steven Spielberg is a big Mortal Kombat fan and was supposed to make an appearance as the director in the movie, but scheduling conflicts forced him to back out at the last minute.
Wow.
So he was lined up. Steven Spielberg could have
That
been
would have
in
been
this movie.
unbelievable.
I wonder if he's bummed listening to this show right now. He listens, right? Like,
He
he's
listens
like, oh,
all
they don't know that
the
much.
time.
You know, I also think that somebody should tell Johnny Cage about PR. You know what I mean? Just like let him clue him in. You know, like you can get people that because he's kind of going for this like kind of word of mouth element.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
I feel like
It's like
there's
invite some
other
reporters
stuff
on
we can-
set and just have them watch you actually do
Yeah.
it because he is actually.
Yeah, there's nothing about like it's very
do
easy
like
to prove that you're not a fake.
Yeah,
a
do an
fake
expo.
karate.
Do like a martial arts expo.
right.
Anything.
Show people that
Really,
he's not a
anything.
stunt person.
Almost anything.
Yeah, that would be the only. That would be the easiest to find.
Or, to be honest, enter a difficult to locate and or prove exists
That's the
otherworld fighting competition that nobody is aware
Well,
of.
wait.
With
To be-
no specific name.
Right,
Yep.
in
Yeah.
the hopes
The tournament.
in the hopes that the people there will then spread the word.
Yeah, they're going to talk about it.
To be
But for all intents and purposes, that is impossible
Because
as
it's in another
everyone will
world.
be dead,
to
except for the one winner in theory.
Right.
to be fair to this film,
It's a long
we will,
lead.
we will say that the guy was a face shifter.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually Sang Sum who came there and pretended to be his
Yeah,
old
he was
man.
tricking all of these people into coming to
But
fight
still, the
by
premise
appealing
of why
to their
he
problems.
went remains the same.
Well, look, if your teacher, if your sensei told you there's a thing, you might go. You may not ask him too many questions.
How come none of the guys from Cobra Kai were there?
They're not the best fighters.
Yeah, they're not.
Apparently
They're
not.
not.
You know, it's clear.
But
straight out.
again, does anyone? All right. So this is my question, and this is maybe infuriating people at home. Is there a reason? I don't understand. Like you would, my idea would be that there'd be somebody from every realm, and then whoever won the tournament
Well, now
would
you-
then be be able to take over all the realms.
You're now kind of describing the plot line of Ed Brubaker and Matt Fraction's Iron Fist series, which is multiple realms, each have a fighter, and all those fighters have to fight each other.
Okay.
And they all have special powers about which pertain to each of their places of origin.
Got it.
Which is a
Kinda like The
way
Last
better
Airbender.
version of this. Yes, kind of like Last Airbender, which was, again, one of the worst movies we've ever seen in our entire lives.
I think we could even take this one step back, though. Just even the way that the people in this movie are delivering the word fighter makes that sound like it is a baby. Was anybody up because they'd be like, he's a great fighter.
Yeah.
In the movie, the fighter, that sounds like a tough thing to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this movie, it sounds like a vague
it is.
description of nothing.
Where are they fighting?
He's a
Where they?
fighter? He's a fighter. He's going to fight.
And it's also such a weird assemblage of people, like an actor, I don't know what John,
A special ops person.
yeah, what a Liu Kang. I don't really understand what he does besides tucking shirts into jeans.
Oh my god! But we have yet to touch upon who I found to be the most bizarre person in this movie, which was Christopher Lambert.
Yes.
I mean, there's a fucking Highlander in this movie.
Highlander.
and Lord Raiden, and he,
What's going on? Who
is he cross-eyed?
No.
Well, it would be hard to know if he's cross-eyed because you can't stop thinking about his accent.
His
You know what I mean?
accent-
You can't focus on his face. 'cause
I
you're
can't
trying to
tell if
close
he
your
has
eyes
an
to
accent
figure
or
out
is
where he's from.
talking baby
true.
talk the whole time.
Well,
It was a fascinating performance, though. Like,
Yes.
I will give him this. I really could not take my eyes off of it.
tell me
Like,
more.
Every time he was on screen, because I really did have trouble paying attention to this movie, and so I am a little lost on a lot of this because it really just didn't hold my attention. But when he came on screen, I was.
Well, he's always popping up. He's
was
always popping into everybody's
interested.
conversations. And then he's presenting stuff and he's like, you're finally learning. But he's never presenting any, like everyone, like, who is he
At a
setting
certain
up?
point, I was like, oh, he's going to train them. He
Yeah.
doesn't train them. At a certain point, I was like, oh, he's going to be the Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, he's going to have to fight the big bad guy.
Nope.
Like Vader and Obi-Wan's fight and sacrifice himself. Nope. He, disappears
Is he
for
a
the...
character in the video game?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm assuming
Yes,
everybody
100%.
He
is.
is, yeah.
What does he do in the video game?
Shoots those
I think the lasers
lightning.
are his thing, or like
Yeah.
the lightning.
Oh, so he does fight.
He has laser eyes.
Do you think any part of your fixation with him has to do with his unusual hairline?
It's
because I
very
think
possible.
he has one of the more
Very
unusual
possible.
hairlines in moviedom. Like it's a kind
Well,
of a
that was a wig,
Frankenstein.
though.
Yeah, but like any movie you've ever. No, that's his natural.
But that's somebody's job to make a wig look good. I mean, you can't just chalk it up.
The look on June's face for the line, that was a wig, though, was
Come on, Kurt.
priceless.
That was a wig.
Sweetheart, that was a wig.
His whatever's going on under the wig is being replicated by
I
the
see what
wig.
you're
I
saying.
agree.
I mean, I don't really know what's going on with his hair, but I will say I have seen the Highlander series.
Yes.
It's as confusing.
I agree with this.
Oh, should we do
I'm a-
Highlander on this show?
I think we should definitely do Highlander on this
Should
show.
we just do every Christopher Lambert movie?
That should be our live show
Also
theme.
married to Diane Lane for a very long
I
time.
love Diane
believe.
Lane.
My issue about him too is that it clearly Raiden, or at least when I played the game, was an Asian man, hence the rice patty hat.
Yeah.
And I feel like anyone else wearing a rice patty hat is offensive. I do feel like, I don't feel like...
Also, the wig was like, maybe this is going to be offensive, but it seemed like the...
I compared one of the characters to the guy who ran Iron Chef, so I think we are we're just at this point terrible people.
Also, like that shock of white gray hair was like, you would imagine an elderly Asian man wearing a hat would have that same look. It just seemed very... Yeah.
The movie was very confusing. I did not care for it, even remotely.
I'm going to show June some pictures of Christopher Lambert, because I think that his hairline is... I don't think it may be a wig. I think it is kind of...
Guys, it's definitely a wig.
Listen, that could be a wig or not. I mean, but like...
You think you could grow that length and thickness of hair?
No, not the thickness.
Welcome back to Wig Talk with June Diane Raphael.
If you have done a wig for Christopher Lambert, we want to have you on the show.
You know what? If you're a working Hollywood wig artist and have worked with Nicolas Cage, Christopher Lambert, or
John
anybody
Travolta,
else,
but
please
I do see
call
what
us.
you're saying, which is that the wig is following and mimicking a hairline that's already there.
But it's just pretty shocking.
Right.
It's pretty straight across
shocking
in
stuff.
a way that hair, doesn't ever grow.
There is something amazing. I want to talk about, and this I think kind of sums up his character. So Raiden is this character who is, the mentor, the Mr. Miyagi of this, who gives no information. Mr. Miyagi, you can at least look back and go, oh, well, the wax on, wax off taught him this. Everything that Christopher Lambert said doesn't make any sense. The best thing I think that sums up this whole character is at the very end of the movie, what he says to these characters that just had a battle to the death. Here, take a listen.
I've got to tell you something. You guys did great. What is it? The Emperor.
Pathetic fools, I come for your souls.
I don't think so.
That thing, I mean, that is the most crazy, this is a big, violent action movie, and he just basically goes, you guys are so good. I'm so proud of you guys. Great job. It's such an unclimactic ending of a movie.
It's like a ruffling of the hair almost.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you buddies. And then gives him a little noogie.
He has the kind of opinion where he's kind of like, I always knew you could do it. But it's like, no, you've had nothing. He didn't really assemble these people. He has nothing to do with their success.
No.
He didn't train them, nor did he impart anything of particular value to them.
I thought he trained one of them. I thought he trained...
Liu Kang?
Yeah, didn't he?
I couldn't tell.
I mean, and by the way, that was how the movie was supposed to end, with him just going, I gotta tell you guys something. You did great. Credits. And then they added on a little bit more because I think it tested so poorly that they were like, whoa, you can't end.
Well, and all those children ran out.
Where were those children?
Where did this
Was
kid come from?
a school let out on this crazy mysterious island in Bizarro Land? Again, I'm not quite sure if this island existed on Earth.
Maybe those were the kids who were going to spread the word about the actors.
Well, he's got that army on the islands, and they've got to fuck something. So there must be concubines, and those girls get pregnant, and those kids no doubt become the next wave of the slave army. It's like the army that Khaleesi hires.
All right, so that's the baby of the Khaleesi.
Yeah. You could cut a nipple right
I did like Princess Katana. Anyone?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty confusing.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
That she fought, what's his name?
Liu Kang?
Little puff hair.
Yeah.
And then nothing happened. How was that not? They fought for a second, but it was not.
When she was telling him, when she was telling him what to do.
Well,
there's sometimes
what was going on there?
That's the other thing I have an issue with this movie. Sometimes they're tournament fights, and other times they're just fighting. And it's when that army attacks the three of them when they're kind of snooping around the mysterious mountain. That's not a fight that's on record. That's sort of like an extracurricular fight.
And why did they keep on saying that there were going to be terrible consequences if she got together with what is his name?
Didn't they
Kane?
also say she was 10,000 years old?
Yeah, she's 10,000
She
years
looks great.
old.
What?
Oh, she was looking great.
Her wig was great. You know what I mean? Like,
It was great wig work.
Was it a
no
wig?
way that she is 10,000 years old.
You don't know how supernatural powers affect. It could be the opposite
Yeah,
way, you know?
maybe
like Mork and Mindy, Jonathan Winters was as a baby,
He's
but
a
he's
baby.
an old man.
Oh, that's interesting. R.I.P. Jonathan Winters.
R.I.P. Can we talk about the set design a little bit too? All the sets look like
Oh my God.
an
How about the crazy
expensive but
stairs?
shitty. Oh,
How about the crazy stairs that Johnny, what's his name, fights Yellow Guy on? Guy in yellow
I
suit.
think this looks like a He-Man playset
That's
that
what
you had
yeah.
at your house that they were like, does anybody have anything they could bring in?
Yeah.
Our budget is low.
well, it was like this is somebody who makes a home haunt. It's
Yeah.
like, it looks pretty good. It's like
Yes.
we'll put some purple light here.
Yeah.
You can't really tell,
We'll
but
put
that's a refrigerator.
It will
The grapes
look
are
stuff that-
eyeballs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff that looks like cobwebs and a couple of fake skeletons.
The most upsetting thing was when that guy was eating the chicken wing.
The cyborg guy?
Yeah, that or the
Thank
turkey
you.
leg,
I
whatever the
could
hell
not
that was.
agree
It
with
was
you more.
disgusting.
I hate mic'd food
It
I
salads.
was
found that.
disgusting.
I found that really
It's
sexy,
terrible.
actually.
Ugh.
I thought
And
that
the
was
amount of
sexiest
food on that
scene.
table. And why was he by himself and not at the banquet?
Well, because that was a scene where they needed to send up all the exposition of the entire movie.
They said everything in that entire scene was crazy.
But also that banquet that he's having follows the banquet where they bring in a ton of food.
Yes.
A
Yeah.
ton of food.
Crabs.
Then they throw all the food on the ground.
Yep.
That's the beginning.
Why, that just seemed to be not right.
Well, that was like they kind of like welcome everybody. We're gonna have this great tournament where we fight to the death. Then it wasn't the dessert. It was literally they served it,
Yeah.
flipped over every table, and then one fight happened where a guy just shot like an ice bolt at this
Yeah.
guy, and that was it. And it was like, okay, and we're
now
gone.
everybody
See you
go to
later.
bed.
Go to bed.
Everybody go to bed. It
would've
was
grabbed
like
one of those
the worst first night at Hogwarts. You know, when all the food arrived.
I
and
thought it was
everything.
like an Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom
Oh,
thing. You
yeah.
thought would be like
Monkey
but
skulls?
The monkeys are monkey.
I guess that's what they were trying to show, like the cruelty of them not even getting into the food, and then this guy, having that entire
Yeah.
table
Well, that's
to
what
himself.
I really was trying so hard and oftentimes to tell, like, who are the bad guys exactly?
I don't know.
And what is their, like, Kano and Forearms would, to me, seem to be the henchmen for the main bad guy. But they were just meeting for the first time in that scene. So I was like, what the fuck is this? Who? Wow. I don't know.
This only happens once a generation.
And was the 10,000-year-old woman like a bad guy who was helping the good guys?
I think that they were like, keep an eye on the 10,000-year-old bad woman because she's the only one who could possibly defeat me. So she was an ally. So they needed to use the clear CGI character, which was another amazing. Like, we
the
don't have enough
Salacious
money.
Crumb character?
They have this like little reptilian, like this little lizard, and that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie when the main bad guy goes up to like a lizard statue. He's like, keep your eye on her and take a look at her, you don't know what's going on.
Then he fully exits frame so that the statue can come alive and be like a many-toothed terrible monster.
And it is interesting, just to go back to the Goro scene when he's like introduced and you see him for the first time and they're eating and he's not eating because like obviously he's got great abs, so he probably is really restrictive.
Totally. It's just like a very high protein and he has to work out twice a day.
And like before 7,
Yeah.
I think absolutely. But then also whenever they do close-ups of his hands, what I love about his hands is that they look like the exact same gloves that like the Ninja Turtles wore in that Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah.
Like they're weirdly the exact same thing. I think they just sprayed them. I think they just sprayed them down.
Purple.
They were like, cut off one of those fingers. I think the Ninja Turtles have 4.
Amazing.
These guys have 3.
Yep.
This guy has 3. So, but otherwise, it was like a real recycled look that I appreciated. I wish I could have seen him actually hold a drumstick.
Also, when it's a man in the suit, he does this one move where he raises his arms above his head, and the 2 sets of arms are connected.
Yes.
So when he raises one set, the other set automatically goes.
It's very like cheap costume design. Like,
And so they repeatedly go back to him, and all he's doing is just raising his arms above his head. But like the second set of arms is like very meekly following the first.
Well,
It's
I gotta
amazing.
say, I didn't feel like they used and capitalized off of those 4 arms. I mean, there was that fight scene,
but that fight scene. Okay, so he's built up as this big guy. The first
He's
move
like the unbeatable guy that
And-
they're like, oh, we're all going to get killed by forearms.
and so Johnny Cage immediately just punches him in the dick, and
Is
then
he wearing sunglasses at that point?
the glasses have been broken.
Okay.
At which point, Christopher Lambert punches a guy in the arm and it goes, yes! And then he goes, I'm sorry about that.
And I felt like that was one of the biggest reveals of the movie was that Goro is anatomically correct.
But
because
I was like, no way.
But here's my-
I was like,
but-
no way this guy's got a dick.
But here's my issue.
I didn't think so. Yeah.
He punches him in the dick, and he goes down like, ooh, and then Goro is literally doubled over for, I would say, a good 15 to 20 seconds. Johnny Cage does nothing else.
No, Johnny
He could,
Cage-
like, the guy is bent over, he could just, bam, bam, bam. He runs upstairs and decides to create this other plan of, like, running off a cliff. But it's like, the guy he has the upper hand and does nothing.
You're
Nothing.
absolutely right. It is a fight that is, there's so much buildup, I feel like, to Goro fighting any of our heroes, what we think of as our heroes.
Oh, there are heroes.
They are ours, I think. I feel a certain ownership of them. Johnny, Liu Kang, Sonya.
Sonya, love them
Princess
all.
Katana too. I mean,
Princess
she's
Katana, too,
complicated,
even though-
but she's ours.
I couldn't tell exactly if but I felt like she was one of us. Anyway, so Johnny Cage is like, you know what? I'm going to fight Goro. And they're like, what? You're going to get killed? And he's like, I've got a plan. And his plan is punch him in the nuts and then lure him outside so you can throw him off a cliff. What?
And by the way, it didn't seem like he knew that cliff was there.
Yeah, the fight is such a letdown.
By the way, when you have somebody that injured, just go to town.
Go to town.
But
Maybe
it is
he was a
nice to
fake.
see the device of somebody falling off a cliff and then the shot from above, like, with
Yeah.
the extra arms.
Love that.
When we've seen it before, like when the Beast fell off the tower and Beauty and the Beast, like he only has
Spoilers.
Two arms.
Not Beast,
Spoilers for Beauty and the Beast.
No, when Gaston falls off, he only
only
has
got
two
two
arms.
arms.
He's like a human person.
Four
But
arms
this
is-
guy formed as like this kind of extra thing. It's nice.
And I love that they had the little callback there because Johnny Cage, like, he's so upset with this movie that he's on because none of the extras are falling down at the right time.
Oh, yeah, right.
And he goes, now you fall. And then he
Yeah.
gets to say it again to Gorum. Why was, I wrote down this one thing. Why was Johnny Cage so upset when I'm calling him Jax, but the black guy died? He was like, no! But he just met him.
They seemed to have some sort of friendship from the boat. Didn't they meet on the boat?
They met on the boat because he was
Boat
reading
was
the
like
Chinese
a minute long
weekly.
scene.
No. Remember he said when they were getting on the boat, he was like, oh, hey, I saw you fight.
Oh,
back
right.
when. Oh, right, I remember you. They had like some past history.
Okay, all right. That's
But
good.
that's it, I think. I think they'd known each other back when.
Where
All right.
do you think he put all of his luggage? Johnny Cage.
Well, that was a great runner.
Where did they stay? What were their
I would
barracks?
have loved
their
to
rooms
have seen
like?
their
What were their
quarters.
barracks like?
He brought no less than 8 suitcases.
What?
8 like
was
Louis
in
Vuitton
there?
suitcases.
Louis Vuitton, like square, boxy suitcases.
It was like a Kate Winslet gets to the Titanic
Yeah.
situation.
But that was the weird thing about that character. He alternated between being like, I am not just an actor, I'm a fighter. But yet he was like also like a diva-y actor at certain points too. Like, I couldn't quite get a handle on
Well,
it.
and I thought that struggle within him was going, like, he was going to have to come to terms with
June,
that.
you brought me to one of my biggest points. This movie is all about inner demons versus outer demons.
Oh, shit.
But he never really wrestled with that. He was never confronted with, like, his own vanity versus his, wanting to be the real thing.
Well,
Was he?
Well, I think when the woman is wearing the dress, for some reason,
again, June's
was
response.
it was a
Was he?
Genuinely.
Hey, guess
did I
what?
miss a
We didn't
scene?
make this movie. Stop yelling at us.
Sorry. Because that would be how his character would finally come to terms with
Well,
his...
Christopher Lambert tells them all
What their demons are.
what is holding them back from achieving like true
Greatness.
excellence and being the best. And he goes one by one and is like, "You are afraid that the prophecy is true, Liu Kang. You are, afraid that to be whatever." He says to Johnny. He says to each one of them, and you're like, "Oh, okay. I guess they're all going to have to individually conquer these weaknesses in order to be stronger." Nope, not really. Okay, wait, what? The movie's over?
Not
Okay, great.
really.
I fucking hate this movie.
That just made me think. I didn't realize this watching it, but now that we're talking about it, that means that like he came back. So the whole reason he's there is so he can talk to people about the tournament.
Yeah.
Do you think he came back and he was like, "You guys,
he would have seemed his
is
acting career would have been
the
over
tournament.
Yeah.
in the underworld.
4 arms down the tube.
He calls his agent and he's like, get me an interview
ASAP.
in the trade.
I
because
took a fog boat with some new friends.
Yep. I fought a man with 4 arms who fell off a cliff in a magical city.
And a man with a rice patty hat told me my destiny was
A
here.
woman was 10,000 years old.
I love thinking about those interviews and how well his career must have gone after. Like, well, I guess he proved it. Because before we didn't believe it, but now.
But it does prove that there were some people that seemed to be just there as spectators. Like, they were just like, they look like dads to me. Like, dads in jeans are like around. They didn't seem like they were a fighter.
Hey, Mitch, you going to the Mortal Kombat fight this weekend?
Well, it happens once every generation. My fucking wife will let me out of the house for one weekend.
You gotta get out of the house. This is gonna be a pretty spectacular fight. Did you hear? Liu Kang is gonna be there.
Liu Kang?
Yep.
His brother
Me,
just got killed,
Gary,
by the way.
Pete, Luke. We're all gonna go. We're all Team Liu Kang.
Southwest going there?
Southwest does not, but Frontier does.
Oh,
we got a real great gig on Frontier.
Fog plane?
Yep, it flies right into the fog, and you fly right out into the Oceanic Flight 800.
I'll do it.
Oh shit, I can't remember.
When Goro,
A15, thank you.
When Goro shows up to that fight, they pan across this audience that you're talking about, and there's just most of them are wearing ninja outfits. There's one guy in a flannel.
That was it. That was what I saw. That's what I saw.
Please rewind it. I rewound it twice.
I love that.
As a lesbian, I have to always be on the look for flannels. Where are they at? How they play into this? So it's
You know what? I feel like you know what it was. I feel like they're like rolling. Oh shit! Sound Mikey? What are you doing? Like, you know what? We're just gonna have to shoot him in there. He's like, what? I was miking over here. Just stay where you are. You're gonna be in this shot. Like a guy, like a grip or something was just added to the movie.
You have to watch the fight scenes because they're also in the front. They're like right on the stage. Now it's time for some facts that will, I think, blow your mind because they blew mine. What do you think the budget of this movie was?
$75 million.
Okay.
1995?
Yeah, 95.
$15 million.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say like 40.
Okay, $18 million. Really? Okay.
Wow.
Oh, weekend gross, opening weekend, $23 million.
Wow.
Worldwide gross, $122 million. This movie is a giant hit. It was #1 at the box office. It was a huge, huge movie. Now, here are some facts that also will blow your mind. People who...
This movie is imaginary.
This never happened. Tom Cruise and Johnny Depp were both considered for Johnny Cage.
Considered.
Well,
Cameron
of
Diaz.
course they were.
Cameron Diaz was cast as Sonya Blade, but broke her wrist before the filming started.
Jesus, I can't believe that. You know, I would have, as you know, like it's so nice whenever her name comes up because like she is my namesake.
Yeah.
I mean, she's only like 2 or 3 years older than me, but my parents, renamed me when they heard about her.
From The Mask?
Actually, when she was in 17 magazine.
Oh, nice.
That was her first modeling job. I remember seeing it in the credits in the back. I was like,
my God.
rename me this, please, Mom and Dad. So, Cameron Diaz, I can't believe you're not in this movie. It would have been so great to see all that underwear dancing that she's known for. She has so many underwear.
So now Cameron Diaz breaks her wrist. So then they hire Miss Teen USA Kathleen McClellan. So they get her in the movie. She gets injured. And so then Bridget Wilson is the third person that they cast. Gregory McKinney replaced Steve James as Dax because he died. And then Brandon Lee was then cast as Johnny Cage, and then he died.
Oh, no.
Jean-Claude Van Damme turned down Johnny Cage to do Street Fighter. And then...
I don't know. I would have liked him in this as well.
I would have liked him in
me
this.
too.
But here is the best fact of the whole movie. Now, this goes back to what we talked about earlier. Apparently, get ready for this. The snake and insect action was monitored by the American Humane Association and commended the film for its responsible and sensitive treatment of even the smallest of Earth's creatures.
Oh, God.
Wow.
This movie got a special commendation.
The animals were treated well in a movie that was about senseless murder.
That is some crazy stuff. I would have liked to see Johnny Depp in that.
Oh.
How do you treat a worm well?
I do not know.
It's like decent dirt. Like
You keep birds away from
Good
it.
question.
Obviously, we had opinions about this movie, but
Especially if it's an early morning shoot.
Yeah,
Because those early birds, they really get those worms.
I've heard
And you can have no apples on set either.
No.
That's like
How
cocaine
do
to
you
them.
keep a bird away from warm? Is it like a dick punch? Do you think you punch the bird in its bird dick?
You just slap.
You know what? Maybe. Although I don't know how to immediately and rapidly tell the gender of a bird.
If you are a
That's
bird,
a good point.
if you are a bird dick puncher, we want you on the show.
If you know how to train birds, hopefully through abuse of their genitalia, to not go after worms, please give us a call. Once again, we're looking for you to clarify some things we have questions about.
All right, so obviously we have an opinion about this movie, but there is now time for a second opinion. Hit the theme song.
These are second opinions. From top to bottom, crazy movies are fun.
These are second opinions culled from Amazon users who gave this movie a 5-star review. Now, I just want to actually give a shout-out before we even start this to two of sponsors of today's episodes. These are donors who gave $100 each to have this get made. So a big shout-out and thank you to Aiden O'More and Mandy Boyles? Or Bowles? I'm going to say Mandy
It's like
Bowles.
bowls.
Mandy Bowles, Aiden O'More, you're the best.
You're the best
Around. All right.
Mandy Bowles.
And Mandy,
Aiden O'More.
I would not like to see you guys get your spine ripped out. Okay, so these are 5-star reviews culled from Amazon. One of my favorite reviews of all time is coming up. It's a little bit long, but it's well worth it. Here we go. From Laura S. This is my childhood movie. They have some good fights and some really funny dialogue for understanding listeners. What
does that even mean?
I don't know. This movie made me interested in wisdom,
What?
good looks,
What?
and martial arts.
Wow.
Wisdom. It made you interested in wisdom.
Just interested in it.
Just interested. Want to check out that wisdom that everyone's talking about.
Oh, you know what I'm going to do tomorrow? I'm going to go to the library and I'm going to look up wisdom. Also, good luck.
Good looks.
Do you think they misspelled wizards? They were like, maybe that was wizards?
All right, now I'm going to read one other. All right, so this one is one of the best video game movies ever made. If you never saw this movie before and you watch it now in 2011, you probably won't like it. With its thin, and you'll think it's cheesy. But if you remember how sweet this movie was when it came out, and you remember Scorpion shooting his grappling hook out of his hand and ripping off his face to reveal a skull that breathes fire, then this is for you. 5 stars.
Oh, God, I hope this person's at a better place in life.
Now, here's another one. The acting, the story, the special effects, everything is just perfect. My favorite scene is when Sonya does battle against Kano, and we see how sexy she is with her nice breast.
No!
5 stars.
What? Breast? Singular?
Breast, singular.
You know, that scene did make
Singular breast? With her nice breast.
We can see how she is sexy with her nice breast.
I can't believe that's what they were. I mean, she's wearing black jean shorts. That's the
Short
look.
shorts, yeah.
That's the fucking look in that scene.
By the way, the person who wrote this, their screen name is LB Worshipper. So, Pound Worshipper? I don't know. Chubby Chaser. Now,
Maybe. Or a very big fan of Lorraine Bracco.
This is much longer than a normal review, but I came across this one and I felt like it needs to be
Just
read.
read it.
Okay.
Do you want the Mortal Kombat music under you while you read it?
You may be this distracting, but let's.
All right,
maybe
we don't have to,
all right, here we
because
go.
it is very intense.
Okay, here we go. This was written on December 26th, 2011. So it was the day after Christmas.
Right after.
From Caracas, Venezuela. Now, I'll be reading it the way it was written. You'll understand why in just a moment. I was a fan of the first Mortal Kombat when it came out, and I remember playing it in my 386. When the movie was announced, I almost got an orgasm. And when it came out again in VHS DVD, was years from being commercial. I don't know what that means. I see the movie once and another time. In fact,
This is really bumming me out.
in fact, making an interstate trip on a bus, I convinced the girl that works on the bus attending passengers of put the movie on during travel. Yep, I carry the tape with me. So he brought the VHS on a bus.
Oh, this is very dark.
Okay. One day, the tape broke up.
This is a suicide note. I'm going to be really upset.
One day, the tape broke up. Yep. I see movie more than 100 times and the tape got overused and broke. I cry a lot that day, and even I have the broken tape with me. When movie came out on DVD, I was uber happy and bought it until I was robbed. They break on my house and take my DVD player with disc inside. Of course, I bought it again, and even today, when his FX are really lame compared with actual, I still enjoy a lot of this movie. The end was great too, and when I see it, I was stunned looking that there will be a second part. But this, at this time, you must know was this is alright. But as this time, you must know it was stay away from that. Unless you are a collectionist of MK stuffs, buy it but don't watch it, because then you will not get desires. But you must punch somebody. Don't know what that means.
Wow.
I think he's basically saying the second movie is not very good. I was happy when I bought
There's a sequel to this?
Yes, called the Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is what we were going to do, but I was heard that we couldn't do that until we saw this one. I was happy when I bought
Remember at the end when they're like,
Well, I figured, but I didn't know. I knew that's what it was setting up, but I couldn't imagine it was made.
It felt like it could have fallen through the cracks.
Yeah.
Like, they'd have been like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It came out many years later. All right, so here's the end of it. Here it goes. I was happy when I bought the DVD and I see it has Spanish subtitles because, as you must know now from reading my review, my English stinks, but not so much as MK2. Slam on MK2.
Amazing.
So I only buy DVDs that have Spanish subtitles, and it's like some divinity don't want me to throw my money away. The MK2 movie has not subtitles, and I can't really remember what to do with my VHS tape. I really want to believe that I threw that one out the window. 5 stars.
Wow.
This is one of the craziest reviews.
It's pretty intense.
It's intense, and
where is he
reading
going?
it-
I want to know where he's going on that bus.
He's on an interstate trip with a VHS copy, convinces someone to get it,
friends.
finds out it's going to be on DVD. This is after he finds out the movie's coming out, he's going to have an orgasm. Then he gets the DVD, his house is robbed, the DVD is stolen.
A harrowing tale.
And then he finds out about the sequel, he kind of slams the sequel, and then he just wants to let you know that this is a good DVD because it does have Spanish subtitles.
And please don't forget that he watched that tape so much that it broke.
It broke.
He broke.
Over
I'm trying to
100
think of
times.
anything. I have not watched anything enough that
Take a
a
picture
tape
of
would
that.
have broken.
I remember getting worried that my VHS tape of Anne of Green Gables was going to go.
Yeah.
Like, that it was actually...
Because was that something also that you like taped off of television?
No, that was given to me.
It was
Yeah.
for sale.
Yes.
Okay. Because I remember thinking that about things that I had like taped off of television,
Right.
but you couldn't get.
Right.
Like I used to tape Saturday Night Live,
Right.
and I would be afraid that something would happen.
I used to fix tapes, open up the top, and you put the
Really?
thing in. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Guys, this is the classic time. Anything that we missed, anything that we want to talk about, anything, I feel like we covered a lot of it. The one thing I feel like I would be remiss if we didn't talk about is that one scene in the beginning when Liu Kang decides to go fight in the tournament. Monks murmur. He's like, I'm going to fight that tournament. And the monk's like, ooh, I believe him. Like, I think like monks should not be gossiping amongst each other. That seemed like an odd thing for monks to do, to kind of have a little, ooh,
so
coffee
much.
clutch.
This movie was so bad.
I think that my favorite part of this movie is that whatever that guy's name is, Liu Kang, is fighting the big bad guy.
Yeah.
And the big bad guy turns around about 2 feet from him and then turns back around and he's his brother.
Oh, yeah.
And if you watch this movie for any reason, fast forward to that part just so that you can see Liu Kang go, wait a minute, I don't think you're my brother. He just saw him transform.
Yes.
And still in his mind.
He watched him transform.
Yes, in his mind, there's a chance
might
that
be.
is really his
He might
brother,
be. Yeah.
and the brother tries to prove it by saying a line that will live with me for the rest of my life, which is, remember when our parents died? If the movie had ended on that, I would have been
Credits.
a 5-star review myself.
You would have written it on Christmas Day.
I would have written it on Christmas.
Oh my God, that was a great little reveal too. Oh man, the dead brother. None of it pays off.
None of it.
Would you guys recommend? Now here's the thing: this movie's on iTunes, and you can't even rent it.
No,
iTunes.
I
you can
paid
easily.
$15.
I paid $9 on iTunes
bought
for
the
it.
shit
How did
out
you
of
pay
it.
$9?
It was only $9 on iTunes.
I think it was. I think I paid 15 on iTunes.
You got high definition.
Oh yeah.
So I bet
Why?
it looked better. I bet it
Yeah.
looked better.
It looked amazing. If amazing looks like garbage.
So would you guys recommend just watching this movie?
Never once ever in your life.
I think you can fast forward and find some fun stuff.
I think if you can just
Really?
find that scene of the brother that's going to stick with you.
And
I think
also that flannel guy.
the
I'm
flannel
actually
guy-
interested in going back to
This
see.
movie-
Christopher
bad.
Lambert, I think his...
This movie is bad, guys. There's no movement in this movie. The fights are lateral and boring.
I don't necessarily believe in piracy, but somebody should pirate that section and put it on the internet, and then all of our problems.
Well, it's also like, I mean, this is brings a whole thing. It's like making a movie out of a video game. They're separate things. Like, I think you can make a video game out of a good movie, but like also trying to do something cool. Like when Liu Kang's move in the video game is like he flies forward and his legs are kicking really fast. But in this movie, when he's flying forward, he's sitting and his legs are just moving like really quick. It's not impressive. It's almost anything but. It seems like almost like a sketch. Like you would see it on Saturday Night Live.
I feel like if you're gonna watch this at this point, watch the Raid Redemption. Watch like a really good martial arts fighting combat movie that would be like, or any of like the Tony Jaa movies or something.
I'd recommend Haywire. If you like,
sure,
yeah.
watch
if you
Haywire.
Sonya
Great,
in this movie, why don't you go watch a real MMA lady take some people down to side?
great, I love it.
Does she have a sense of humor?
She's a terrible actor, but hey, what the heck? She was on American Gladiators, the reboot.
Well, this is been so much fun. Cameron, what do you have that you want to plug and tell us about?
So I have 2 podcasts of my own, and
great.
if folks like this, I also do an action and sci-fi movie podcast. That's
What? I didn't know about this.
called Wham Bam Pow, and that's why I said this is in my wheelhouse. I fucking love this shit. So you can I do that with Ricky Carmona and Rhea Butcher, who also they're both amazing comics.
Amazing.
And then Rhea and I also run a show at the UCB on Tuesday nights.
Very good show.
That is called Put Your Hands Together, and
Out
we
in
put
LA.
that out as a podcast as well. And that is a stand-up podcast. In fact, it is like the first of its kind.
It's really
Listen to
awesome.
that
Amazing.
in your house at home. Okay, the end.
Also, just a reminder again that we are doing a live show on 3/14 at Largo in Los Angeles. How'd this get made? And if we sell out the first one, we'll do a second one. That's 3/14. Go to largola.com. What else we got, guys? Anything? Jason, you still in The Dictator?
I'm just getting word now that I'm still in it.
Oh, good. That's
Great though.
Yeah. My voice has now been dubbed.
But your body is still in it.
My body is still in it, but I've been told that my voice has been entirely dubbed.
All right, that's okay. That's all
Wait,
about the look.
business.
but with a dog's bark.
Oh, wow.
So my character has now been reduced to being an animal in the movie, apparently.
But
I haven't watched it, so I
It's
don't
an interesting performance. My comic book Alien vs. Parker is coming out on February 4th. The trade paperback. Read them all in one sitting. June, what the fuck do you want to talk about?
Oh, shit. June, did you want to yawn on mic?
Don't you have a DVD coming out?
Oh yeah, Ass Backwards is out on DVD January 28th and available on iTunes.
There you go.
Well, I'll also say go see Ride Along.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Why not?
Jason Mantzoukas,
see Ride Along.
writer of Ride Along, a huge hit.
Yeah, it is.
Giant hit.
Fantastic.
Giant hit.
Now,
Weird.
are you going to be riding around like on a helicopter fueled by champagne at this point?
Yeah. How do you think I got here? It is not a good technology.
Is that actually true?
Yes.
I did write a
You
version of
You
that.
wrote the first version, right?
I wrote the middle version.
Okay.
Okay, so my fiance Rhea, who I do a lot of these shows with, I just want you to know she's a huge fan.
Oh, awesome.
Whenever we went to see a movie, while there was a ride-along trailer, she would turn to me during the entire trailer and just go, "This is fucking amazing. I love this." She likes Kevin Hart's delivery a lot. So anyway,
love
my
Hey,
point is,
watch out. You might
Yeah.
lose her to Kevin Hart.
I flipped.
It feels
I love Kevin Hart.
like I could.
I flipped out because I walked by one of those big bus ads and I saw your name on the thing. I was like, wait, what? I texted you immediately and did not hear you talk about it. We would vacation together
Sure,
and didn't even hear you mention it.
Nope.
You are a mystery.
Yeah, guys.
All right.
But check it out on my Twitter.
No, you do not have a
Still
Twitter.
don't have Twitter.
But How Did This Get Made has a Twitter. You can follow us at HDD, whatever, you know, the initials of the fucking show. I'm on Twitter at Paul Scheer.
At Miss June Diane.
Yeah, and I'm at Cameron Esposito.
Great.
Not on Twitter.
All right, that wraps up the show.